Rwby, Season 6, Episode 2, titled Uncovered. And that is such an aptly named title for an episode, as it gets so many secrets and mysteries just laid right out on the table, whether you want them to be or not. First up to bat is the fact that, hey, Cinder is still alive. Like many people thought, after her battle with Raven, she found herself at the bottom of the, temple vaults, whatever, unable to get back up and badly beaten. She got her whole ass handed to her. However, lucky for her, she managed to stumble upon a very unfortunate young lady, and let's be honest, she straight up murdered this woman. It's like, bye bye, random village woman. Your sacrifice was unnecessary. But in case you were forgetting that Cinder was a very evil SOB, then there you go. Meanwhile, we kind of flash back to the instance in which Team Rwby discussed the fact that they need to go back to Atlas and their travel plans for everything, considering that they wanted to go to a military base for Atlas in order to hopefully get some form of proper transportation to Atlas. Atlas. That's the name of the game here. Get to Atlas. Don't die. Or don't let anyone else die, as Rwby put it last episode. That's such a sad line. Like, don't let anyone else die. I'm like, Jesus, kids, lighten up. But they also question about the lamp, and we come to find out that it is able to grant 3 requests questions about knowledge, very much like the genie's lamp from Aladdin. However, instead of wishes, it grants questions. However, it cannot grant any questions in regards to the future, only the present and the past. So, an interesting thing with an interesting set of limitations. Yet another one is the fact that once all 3 questions have been asked, it is unable to answer any more questions for 100 years, with Ozpin noting and specifically stating that all 3 questions have already been asked, so there's no sense in trying to ask them yet again. We pick back up with this item where Rwby finds it in the wreckage. Yang is in a very hot-tempered mood considering the whole course of events that got him there, and we also come to find out that the old lady is actually named Maria Calavera, which is a very apropos name for a Latino abuela who has all this sugar skull and, Mexican and kind of designs. It's just like very Dias de los Muertos. But that's not the main crux of everything. The main crux of everything, and this has kind of been a big talking point past few seasons, just in the fact that Yang is not too happy with Ozpin. Specifically, all the secrets, it's very obvious he is keeping. Like, bro, what the hell? And specifically, the secret that he's been keeping is the fact that the Grimm are in fact drawn to the relic, which is just like, yo, you kind of put us all at risk because of this. However, Ozpin kind of disputes this to a certain degree. Even a few of the comments made in the fact that they kind of lied to the populace by not stating that Lionheart had actually, Leo had actually betrayed his, place to the Grimm and Cinder and all of that good stuff. But Ozpin makes it very clear. He has his reasons for why he does these things. He's lived so long, he's seen so many patterns that he just does certain things because of that. Naturally, that doesn't really sit too well with everyone. And when he asks Rwby to hand over the relic, she kind of refuses, with the fact that a lot of them just don't feel like they can really trust him. And this is a point of contention that's just been building and building and building and building. The lack of trust in Ozpin has been ever growing, and it's finally reached its tipping point. However, Ozpin is in fact stopped by Oscar, who tells them that he is trying to keep the relic from them. He's trying to prevent them from using it, revealing that the item is actually still available to use two more wishes. Is as said by Oscar. It's just like because of their connection, Oscar's just like, no. He's like, don't lie to them anymore. You're just making matters worse. Which is unfortunate in the part of Ozpin. It's just like, I know you've lived all these years, but honestly, the secrets are just making a bad situation worse. Ultimately, Rwby does end up asking the lamp, well, summoning the creature of the lamp, as Oscar reveals that its name is Jin. And as the snow stops when they call out that name, the lamp starts to glow this eerie blue aura, and Jin stands revealed in all her naked, sexy glory. Voiced by Colleen Clinkenbeard of all things, the voice of Monkey D. Luffy in One Piece and Urza Scarlet in Fairy Tail. So, they continue to get some, high class, very big, widely known voice actors for a lot of these parts, which just shows that Rwby has really come a long way. With Jin simply asking, is just like, "What can I do for you, my masters?" Meanwhile, Cinder continues to travel through these back slums, just keeping her head down because she and her team are on the wanted list. She ends up trying her best to just kind of fade into the crowd, and she ends up coming across this kind of organization run by this woman called Little Miss Malachite. Cinder tries to get some information in regards to the whereabouts of Rwby and her team, with Malachite saying that she'll have her men on it. One of Malachite's associates states that they already know the whereabouts of Team Rwby, which is kind of odd. Like, dude, wow, that's a hell of an information network. They haven't really been traveling that much for that long. However, ultimately, Little Miss Malachite doesn't want to offer that information up to Cinder just yet because she wants to see if somebody else might want information on Cinder and how much they might be willing to pay for it. So, a little bit of double crossing, backstabbing, and all that good stuff. Yeah, don't deal with the underground when you're on the wanted list. They'll sell you out in a heartbeat. Back to Jin, she makes it known that she still has 2 wishes available despite what Ozpin has said. And he, just outright begs. It's just like, don't do this, please. I'm begging you, please do not do what I think you're about to do. And, everybody's just so fed up with Ozpin in their lives that they even turn their weapons on Crow because, he's in with Ozpin. Although throughout this, Crow keeps having these slight, expressions of just like, oh man, I can't. Ozpin, what are you doing, man? No, God, what were you thinking? Just, come on, Oz, dude, I'm vouching for you here, and you're really letting me down. And I feel bad for Crow in this instance because he's looking out for a friend, but at the same time he really trusts and values the girls, and it's just like he just tells them, do whatever you want, because at this point he really I feel like he feels that he has no say in this matter. Like, you know what? I don't know what's right anymore. Just do whatever you think is right. And so Rwby ultimately asks Jin, what is Ozpin hiding? And we have this really intense scene of, Oscar Ozpin just rushing at her to try to stop her, only for everyone to end up alone in this world of white, where they're all experiencing the same thing at the same exact time. where Jin starts to tell this story of this really tall castle with this really tall tower and a lone girl who lived in the tower. A lone girl named Salem. What? Like, yo, really? Really? Oh my god, I was not prepared for this. I was not prepared for this. Like, I didn't think this is where we were gonna end up going so early on in this season. Like, I mean, I guess now is as good a time as any to get the whole explanation as to what the deal is with Salem. But like, man, this, like, and I knew that she had connections with Ozpin, but I feel like this is about to be on some hardcore. We're about to get really sad. I feel like this is gonna be a really sad situation, and it's just gonna be heartbreaking. And oh man, I don't think my body is ready for what is to come here. But just I'm excited. I'm very much excited. It's just like for the longest time, Cinder has just I mean not Cinder. Salem has been, just this faceless antagonist, this wicked witch of the West, and all this good stuff, just kind of menacing from the shadows, sending out her Grim. Like, and we finally might get to know what's her connection with the Grim, what's her connection with Ozpin, why is she able to control the Grim, why does she look the way she does, why is she sending Cinder off to find the various maidens and their power, what is her ultimate evil machinations here? Is it truly evil at the end of the day? Like, could she actually be in the right to a certain degree, and Ozpin is the one being unreasonable? So much doubt has been cast on the old man that it's just like, oh man. Which, interesting aside is the fact that Jin calls Ozpin old man. Like, either that was just playful banter, or Ozpin is even older than a lot of people thought, which is even more surreal. But, it feels bad, man. I love it, but it feels bad, man. Because a lot of things are coming at us really fast, and just, I want it, but I'm scared, and it's just like, oh, man. Dude. Dude. We about to get some backstory, man, and it's gonna be hype. But, hey, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think the secret that Ozpin is hiding actually is? Like, did he create Salem? Did he create the Grim? Was, Salem actually evil from the get-go, or was she actually a victim in all of this from the start? How much how much of Ozpin's backstory will end up making everyone turn against Ozpin? It's just like, I want to root for Ozpin and I want to side with Ozpin, but you're making it really hard for me, man. I feel like Crow, like I'm vibing with Crow on this, because it's just like, Ozpin, I love you, dude, you're cool, but you're really making it hard to trust you and back you with all of this, and it's just like, I don't want to see you turn into the villain of all of this. It's gonna get really messed up. But also, what did you think about Jin? The fact that this artifact was able to summon the genie of the lamp, and what do you think about the fact that she grants answers to questions about, knowledge in general, anything besides what happens in the future? Do you think that's an interesting way to turn a classic fairy tale on its head? Because I know I do. And her design very much makes me think of Magi. If anyone's familiar with that series, and how, the various creatures that they would summon, especially Magi's personal creature, the Jin, would be a blue skinned creature and all that good stuff. I really need to watch that series a little bit. But, again, just leave me a like if you liked what I had to say about this episode, or a dislike if you didn't, and tell me what I'm doing wrong, and subscribe for more episodes of Rwby. It just gets crazier from here. Thanks for joining me.